Really looking forward to this. I think if you're on Amazon today, this is going to be mind-blowing. If you're not on Amazon, I think this will give you some pointers on what to do when you do end up selling on Amazon, which I think is kind of the path for any brand. It is an important channel in the mix. There is a way to maybe forego Amazon completely for some brands, but I think most brands end up bringing that channel on and being very careful on how they implement it at the very least. Matt, I'll let you explain the differences, apparently from A to Z, as the talk says.
Definitely, yeah. So, like Derek said, I'm Matt from Right Side Up. I lead our Amazon team internally, and we'll be kind of going through just the basics to get you up on Amazon and launching today, and just kind of what the opportunity is all about and why you should be on it if you're not, and kind of what you can do to maximize it if you aren't taking full advantage of the channel right now. So let me share my screen.
Looks good.
All right, so just quick blurb about us. Right Side Up is a collective of growth marketing specialists, and we've helped over 200 venture-backed companies hit their targets. We cover virtually any paid channel that you could ever want to go into. We also dabble in SEO, CRO, email, and Amazon, obviously. And unlike other agencies, we are very easy to work with. We require no long-term contracts. We actually have 7-day outs on every single contract, and we don't really do retainers. We do everything kind of on an hourly basis. So simply put, we're the marketing team we would have hired when we were in-house. So let's jump into Amazon. So today we're going to go all over about how to launch on Amazon. We actually have about 40 slides, so I'm going to go quick. You guys will get everything that we're presenting today, as well as some handouts that we're going to give out to Derek as well to give to everyone. And then if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us at growth@rightsideup.co. So the first big thing is why Amazon. 47% of searches start on Amazon. So it outpowers Google at this point. When people are looking to buy a product, chances are they're either going to go to Google, search for your product, and the Amazon listing is going to come up, because chances are there's a reseller that is selling your product on Amazon if you aren't, or they're just going to go ahead and go directly to Amazon. The other big thing is Amazon does convert a lot higher than most D2C sites, and it's just the trust factor that people have because of the Prime experience. And then the big thing is if your product is shelf stable, fulfilling through Amazon's FBA program, which allows you to have 1-day and 2-day shipping throughout the US at extremely low rates, is cheaper and quicker than what it would be for you to go ahead and fulfill those yourselves. And what you'll end up finding is a lot of people do price shop back and forth. So they may be on your website checking things out, and then they go to Amazon to see if it's cheaper or if they can get the shipping quicker. And if there's someone else there selling your product, you're going to miss out on that opportunity to make that connection. So today we're going to go over through best-in-class listings. Like Derek said, we kind of went through this on a happy hour a few weeks back with a lot more detail. This is going to be a very quick, high-level pass-through of it. We're then going to go through what launching on Amazon is like and how to really prep yourself for it. We're going to go through review generation, which is huge on Amazon. It's the main way that most people do choose which item they're going to buy, and how ads play into all of that. And then we're going to give you some quick wins, tips, and tricks. So if you are already selling on Amazon, you can take some of these things and apply them today. They all take maybe 5 to 10 minutes to do, and you'll see a sales boost within 3 to 4 days. So lots of good stuff. So with listing optimization, the biggest question that we usually get is, what keywords do we target? On Amazon, there's a lot of discovery going on since it is that initial search. So a great example is vitamin C serum. I might not know what vitamin C serum I want, what percentage I want, or what exactly I'm looking for, but vitamin C serum is that discovery term. So even though it is a super huge volume term that produces hundreds of thousands of searches a month, it's not really a high purchase intent keyword that drives purchases to a specific subset of products. Usually they'll narrow it down from there with more specifics and longer tail keywords. The other big issue that you have is Amazon's algorithm does run on a velocity driven metric for keyword ranking when you appear organically within search. So for vitamin C serum, since it has such a high search amount and the number of sales that it does produce under that keyword, in order to rank very highly on that page, you do have to produce about 1,700 orders for that specific keyword in 7 to 10 days, which can be extremely expensive, and just it doesn't sit well when you're trying to prioritize and make a launch financially stable. So what you can do is really start to mix in those longer tail keywords like vitamin C serum for face or vitamin C serum with hyaluronic acid and so forth, which allows you to still get that shorter main term in and rank a little bit up for that, but you're moving the needle tremendously on these longer tail terms, which are still searched at super high volumes. The best way to go ahead and find those keywords that you're looking for is to find gaps in the market, as well as opportunities to position yourself a little bit better than your competitors. So we mainly use two tools internally at Right Side Up on our Amazon team, Helium 10 and Seller.tools. Both offer very similar feature sets. We actually just compare the data between the two most of the time and take a rough average from both to make sure that we're taking every angle and analyzing things when we do produce a launch or write copy for products on Amazon. But the big thing that we do is a reverse ASIN search. Helium 10 refers to it as a cerebro search. What that allows you to do is give Helium 10 any product that you want on Amazon, and it'll go ahead and pull back all of the search terms that that item is ranking for or that Amazon deems it relevant for. From there, we want to do that for about 5 to 10 of our best-selling competitors, and we'll graph them into something you'll see on the next page that allows you to kind of go ahead and see those gaps in keyword performance and where you can really slide yourself in and start to produce sales without spending a bunch of money up front. And then as those sales are coming in, we'll start to launch into those bigger keywords as you already have that velocity moving. The other big thing that you do really want to look at when you're pulling all of this data with Helium 10 or Seller Tools is the number of reviews that your competitor has as well. Most of the time, if your competitors have thousands of reviews and you have 10, even if you are a better product, people are not going to buy you at the end of the day. They're going to go with that one that has thousands just because it has that social proof. So it's super important to make sure that when you are looking at this gap analysis, that you're going head-to-head with products early on that have lower review counts that you can go ahead and steal traffic from. So when you do pull all of that data from Helium 10 or Seller Tools, we'll give you guys a Google Sheet that will combine it into something that looks like this. Basically, what it allows you to do at a high level is see all of the products. This is for a liquid vitamin B12 product. We can see at the very top how many reviews it has, what its average rating, price point, and so forth all the way down, as well as where it's ranking in the top 10, how many times. So you can see that there and see which ones are ranking the highest, these two, and then how long that product has been selling on Amazon. On the left-hand side here, which is kind of cut off, you will see the specific keyword term. If it has an Amazon's Choice badge, which can be a big driver in sales organically from search because people usually just click whatever item has Amazon's Choice or a bestseller badge. How many results are actually appearing in that search, and then the estimated volume of searches per month per keyword, and then SFR, which is search frequency rating, and this is a number between 1 and 5 million of how frequently that search term is searched within Amazon. The lower, the better. So what we do with these is below each product, you will see how they're stacked up in ranking for that keyword. Anything in green is something that's in the top 10 because 80 to 90% of the sales do happen for the products that are in the top 10 for any given keyword. Anything in red that doesn't have an NA means that that is the position you're ranking in beyond the top 10. And then NA just basically means you're not in the top 306 search results for that specific keyword. So what we like to do is figure out what keywords are your competitors ranking for. So we kind of highlighted this one here, which is just B12 as the keyword. We see that 3 of our competitors are ranking, but 3 of them aren't. So it allows us a little bit of wiggle room to go ahead and come in there as that 4th person. Even though we are ranking right here at 27, we're doing okay, but we could use a boost. And this would be one of those keywords that we would go after because of that gap. Now, if you see across the board, everything is green for a specific keyword, it's going to be highly competitive. People are spending high amounts of money. And it's really not something you want to go for right out of the gate, because it's going to cost you a lot to keep and maintain that rank moving forward. And what we do is pull about 5 to 10 of these still higher volume keywords that are producing a decent amount of sales, and build our ad campaigns and ranking campaigns around those. And then we'll switch in longer tail keyword alternatives for some of these smaller ones, like liquid B12, liquid B12 for men, liquid B12 1,000 milligrams. We'll go ahead and build that out as much as possible to help that main term as we focus in on those specific terms that we're targeting. From there, once you've found those keywords that you want to go after, it's really important to make sure that your content is optimized on Amazon. It is the #1 factor in how people are going to find you, specifically your title and your bullets. Backend details and descriptions do come into play, but they don't hold as much weight as titles and bullets. So from the 5 to 10 keywords that we pick, we want to make sure that we're getting them in our title as much as possible, at least once, twice if possible on some of them. Most of the time you'll only be able to do it once. And then once that keyword is in your listing, there's really no need to repeat it unnecessarily in the bullets, the description, or the backend details. Amazon indexes you for it, and then they're just waiting for sales velocity driven by that keyword in order to figure out where they're going to rank you organically. But the bullets are a great spot to go ahead and expand upon those main terms that we've developed. So like liquid B12, we could be like best liquid B12 for men and state reasons. You really want to focus on having that feature and benefit within there, and kind of calling out how you're better than the competition that's out there. One way that we really do kind of dive into this is we use the Helium 10 extension that allows you to pull all of your competitors' reviews, and we pull all of their negative reviews, and we figure out what those negative issues are with their product, and then we craft our bullets around how our product actually solves those issues, which results in a lot higher conversion rate than the majority of other listings out there. The other big part of Amazon that people overlook nonstop is the backend details. Most people don't realize that this even exists beyond the basic web-based form that everyone's used to if you do sell on Amazon. There are flat files that you can download, which is a massive Excel file I'll show on the next slide. And it has all of these details that you can enter about your product, about what material it is, what age group it's for, what audience, all these different things that help Amazon formulate what person to specifically show your product to when it does appear in search. And then it also goes ahead and shows those customers how to narrow down those search results. So if you've ever been on Amazon, you'll see on the left-hand side, they have a bunch of identifiers of, say you're searching for Pop-Tarts. There will be organic, gluten-free, all of these little things that you can click, and then it will filter the search results based on those. Most of the time, if your backend details aren't filled out correctly, you'll be wiped from the search results the second that someone clicks that on the left. And we've seen this in a lot of huge categories where there's tens of thousands of products that show up and search for that keyword, and the second you click gluten-free, it goes down to 100. So it greatly increases your chance of being a conversion, and then it helps Amazon ads optimize as well, because it gives them more detail to build that AI off of. The other big thing is description. This really doesn't hold much weight in Amazon SEO rankings, so it's your chance to kind of expand upon the brand and really show your brand voice. And 99% of the time, you will be adding A+ content to your listings, which is a visually enhanced description of sorts, and it actually gets rid of your basic description. So you can still fill this out. It's SEO space that you should take up, but it's really not going to contribute much to the overall SEO relevancy. This is what everyone is used to when you talk about backend details. This is a screenshot from the backend of Amazon for a keto product. It'll show you search terms, other attributes, intended use, and specialty. This is where you can fill out a lot of those drop downs in the specialty and intended use. And then your search terms are terms that might not be relevant in your title and bullets, but are still relevant to the product in some way, or misspellings of your main search terms. Amazon does claim that they index misspellings, but we've seen it's very hit or miss. So always best to test it yourself and put them in the backend search terms, just so that you can go ahead and pick up those searches, because a lot of times Amazon does not autocorrect. We actually are working with a kombucha client right now, and I found out there's 501 ways to spell kombucha, and Amazon does not correct any of them if you spell it incorrectly. So it's a great opportunity to pick up some quick sales when a lot of other people aren't indexing for those keywords. And then you can see here, there's 4 to 5 different things that you'll see on the back end of the web form. But on the back end of a flat file, you'll actually have about 120 columns that go through everything from manufacturer ID number to other images to countries of origin, material types, literally anything. So if any of these columns are relevant to your products, make sure that you have them filled out. The other thing that you will not see on a web form is a lot of times these intended use keywords and special keywords. There are special keywords that Amazon is looking for, and they only recognize those keywords. It doesn't tell you anywhere in here that they're looking for those specific ones, but on the actual flat file, it will give you a drop down within that cell and show you the appropriate choices for that. So you may think you have coverage, you have a lot of those things filled out on the back end. Chances are you're probably doing it wrong or not to full completion, and go ahead and fill out your flat file. If you are selling on Amazon, one quick way to do this, and just kind of to double verify how you're doing, you can actually open up a case within Seller Central and request that your catalog listing report be unlocked. What this does is it allows you to download a flat file like this already pre-filled out with all of your details as Amazon sees it at that very instant. And that will be available within your inventory reports. I'm not really sure why Amazon locks that down, but after they unlock it, it's only valid for 7 days, and then it will be hidden again. So periodically go ahead and request that report and compare it against what should be there and what Amazon is interpreting, because what you'll find out is a lot of times your categories will change without you realizing it, or little details on the back end will change if a real reseller pops up and changes it, and we will never know, and it could affect your overall search results. The other big thing is obviously optimizing your image stack. This is everyone's first impression of your product, and since majority of purchases are happening on mobile now, most people don't even see the bullet points or the A+ content because they have to scroll pretty far down the actual page on mobile to see that. So you want to make sure that your main image is calling out exactly what your product is. And if it's a multi-pack, call out how many they're getting in there so that they can do the price math very quickly there themselves. Amazon does do it for you on some items, but a lot of times people don't look at that. They're just looking straight at the image. The other thing that you can do here, because your main image does have to be on a white background, we recommend that you put the packaging or something behind it, so that way you can have call outs behind your item. If you would just go ahead and put a basic call out on the main image, it would actually suspend your listing and they would make you switch out your image. So it's a way to kind of sneak those in and stand out a little bit from the rest of the search results that are just on a plain background. The next thing is if your image or if your product's going to arrive in some way that is not what's represented within the main image. So we work with a couple of different clients that sell drinks. They're shipped kind of just in a basic brown shrink wrapped box. A lot of times if you're buying this at the store, you're expecting very pretty packaging, which just isn't happening. So we're letting those customers know beforehand, so that way they don't leave bad reviews and say, hey, I got a counterfeit product, or this isn't like what I buy at the store. They'll know up front, and you'll lessen the chance of that happening. The next big ones that you really want to focus on is really kind of reiterating those bullet points, features and benefits, because most people will not read the bullet points. They like to just scroll the first 4 or 5 images, and they will take everything they need to know from those. So make sure you have whatever those unique selling propositions are forward facing at the get-go, and it'll increase your likelihood of conversion. If it is a food product, you do want to go ahead and include your nutrition label, call outs of grams of protein if you have higher protein than what your competitors do, and vice versa. The other thing that you do want to do is if you have multiple items that are being sold, so say it's a variety pack, you want to make sure that you're calling out every single individual one, what's in there, what those nutrition facts look like for each product. So that way no one feels confused at the end of the day, because we do get lots of emails and negative reviews of people not understanding what they actually bought. And then it's always great to mix in any type of lifestyle imagery that you can, but you kind of want to put those towards the back, as they really aren't helping with the conversion process too much, but it does kind of complete your listing and make it look full. The other thing is, no matter what, if you have a brand video, if you have a specific product video, make sure that you get a video up on your listing, because Amazon does look at how much time people spend on your page, and you want to be able to maximize that. So if you've got a 3-minute long video and we can get people to watch half of it, you just got another 1.5 minutes on your page that Amazon will be like, hey, this item was more relevant for that search term that they searched because they stayed there longer, and you'll increase your organic rankings without actually producing sales and time on your page. All right, so getting into that launching process, this is kind of everything we talked about was pre-gaming before you're actually taking that product live on Amazon. This is how you're going to develop that marketing launch strategy, and then how you're going to take it to market. The big thing on Amazon that people don't understand is it is 100% velocity driven, which we've chatted about. And there are tools within Seller Tools and Helium 10 that will allow you to see roughly how many units per week you need to sell to rank highly for those keywords. Helium 10 calls it the CPR score. I'm not exactly sure what Seller Tools calls it right now, but you can use both of these, look at both numbers, and gauge really what you need to produce sales wise. The other way that we do look at this is if you have access to brand analytics, you can pull the search volume for a keyword, and brand analytics will show you the click and conversion share for certain products for that keyword, and you can kind of work those numbers backwards and see how many actual units the top 3 sellers are producing for that keyword. So we always like to take 3 or 4 different numbers, kind of look at everything, see if there's any anomalies that we need to look at, and dig a little bit deeper, because this is the #1 thing about ranking your product on Amazon, is making sure that you know the exact number of sales that you need to produce for that keyword. Once you do have that exact number, say it's 100 units, we would look to break that down between a 7 to 15 day period and make sure that we're producing either growing sales or very consistent sales at that number for whatever duration we do pick. So 100 at 10 would be 10 orders per day. You want to make sure that no matter what, you're hitting those 10 orders per day. And then we'll figure out through the next step of basically Facebook ads, Amazon ads, or sending emails to a list that you may already have to produce those sales. So here is where you can see in Helium 10, it will show you the keyword, the search volume, and then the number of units you need to give away is the way that they refer to it, or number of sales that you need to produce. So for the keyword keto bars, we would have to produce 400 units sold in 8 days. So it's really not that many for high volume keywords that do produce a lot of sales. And you'll find that if you do successfully create a launch and continue those rankings, you'll actually be ROI positive in most keywords the very next month, because they do produce so many sales organically once you are ranked. The big thing that we do really look at is tracking performance. So we like to break everything down on a day-by-day basis on how many units we're selling, how many basically buys or pre-predicted sales that we're pushing, whether that's through Facebook ads, Rebate Key, which is a deal site, which we'll chat about a little bit more, or through Amazon PPC. We're also tracking in brand analytics what our click share and conversion share is for that specific keyword, because at the end of the day, the best way to look at this is we want to mirror exactly what the top 3 sellers on Amazon are doing. If we mirror them as closely as possible, Amazon is going to reward us with ranking us just as highly as it ranks them for the keyword. And as you can see here, within about 10 days, we went on this product from being ranked 177 down to 4, and then it just started sticking after that. And you can see how quickly those orders start producing. So we only forced 22 orders on this day on the 28th, but organically we sold 102 orders. So it multiplies extremely quickly once you are ranked high, and just kickstarts that payback period. There are 3 big ways to go ahead and make sure that you are getting those buys, because if you are a new unheard of brand, sometimes it can even be hard to get those organic sales to kick up. So we do it through mainly 2 different ways, and then you can mix one in at the end of the day as well, just to help Amazon's algorithm figure out a little bit more about your product. The big one that we really use is Facebook ads. So we offer extreme discounts on the products just to get them in people's hands, as well as produce that Amazon sale. Or if you are a more well-known brand, it can be a small discount, 10 to 15% off, and push the sale to Amazon. We do use special URLs, which we call 2-step URLs, and I'll send over how to create one of those. But what it allows you to do is tie that URL to a specific keyword, so that when someone does purchase, we get a credit for the keyword vitamin C serum. And it's a very simplified process. They would just click that, check out, and we get a tick as if it happened for vitamin C serum. The other thing that you do want to do is, once you are ranking pretty highly, we want to go ahead and ask them to just search vitamin C serum in our ads, or we use Facebook Messenger campaigns to do this so that we can have that direct communication. And we tell them, hey, just go to Amazon and search vitamin C serum. You'll see us in position number 4. And that way it's simulating a real organic search to Amazon, and it's boosting your rankings a lot more than what a 2-step URL would. The other way to do it, if you just don't want to mess with Facebook ads, is through deal sites. So Rebate Key is probably one of the biggest ones out there. If you've never heard of it, go check it out today. You can actually get some pretty cool stuff for free from a lot of different brands that you know. But what they're doing is they're trying to manipulate this velocity metric on Amazon. So they're giving away extremely highly discounted units, or units just completely free, to get those units out the door and trick that velocity metric. And I mean, it's pretty much sales on demand if you're willing to give a deep enough discount. So it does work very, very effectively. And then the third option is through Amazon PPC. We do use this from time to time, but it's not a huge driver of our initial launch plans on Amazon for the time being, just because we know we can produce so many sales through Facebook ads and we can produce them cheaper. We aren't really looking to increase the cost of the launch. This just kind of goes over in a little bit more detail about what those are. We'll give you a list and examples of the deal sites that we use, the Facebook ads, and then kind of how to set up your PPC campaigns, because you do want to bid for top of search on your PPC campaigns, but this can get very, very expensive. So keyword like keto bars could be $7 to $8 per click, and we know we have a 10% conversion rate. It's very, very expensive at the end of the day. We know we can convert someone through a Facebook ad for $6. So if you have low cost per clicks and you have high conversion rates, PPC may be the way to go, but it really depends on what category you're actually putting your product into. The other big thing that we do use is brand analytics data. So this is something that a lot of people know exists. They don't really dive into it, but it is a wealth of knowledge on anything and everything that is sold on Amazon. It'll show you comparisons in carts, what people are looking at and ultimately buying versus your product, what people are buying with your product, what items are searched the most on Amazon, who's producing the most sales from that, and literally anything that you really want to know at the end of the day. The only metric it does not give you is the search volume for those keywords. So that's where we use other tools like Helium 10 and Seller Tools to go ahead and backfill that data. And then we can start to figure out truer numbers on a day-by-day or week-by-week basis for how many sales people are actually producing. So we would come in here and look at face masks. This item right here is producing 15% of the click share, and then they're converting 11% of those people who click. So if this item was producing 100 searches per month, we would say that it's producing, getting 15 detail page views and 1.5 orders per month. Obviously, that's very small. Face masks are being searched millions and millions of times right now on Amazon, but you get the drift, and you can kind of break that down and get a day-by-day sales velocity ranking for every single keyword. And it just helps you dial in specifically how many units you need to sell each day. It also allows you to see if there's spikes up, because if you are in the middle of a launching campaign and say one of the #1 sellers does start some sort of couponing or they're running a lightning deal, you'll need to know that so that you can continue to mimic and match what they're doing sales wise. So it's always best to pull this data while you're launching day by day and ensure that you're hitting the number of sales that you need each day.
Hey, Matt, sorry to interrupt. I love it. We're running low on time. So I want to just give you a few minute warning, 2 to 5 minutes if you can. I want to make sure you can wrap up and also talk a little bit more about the agency as well.
Perfect. Yep. I will run through these next 5 very quickly. And then if you guys have any questions on them, go ahead and reach out to growth@rightside.up.co. But we do run these entire campaigns for 15 to 30 days. So after you set it down after those first 7 to 10 days and you aren't really pushing sales, make sure you watch your rankings daily. If you see your rankings start to slip, you're going to have to re-push some more sales for those keywords. And then as soon as you see it start going back, start to pull back. The other thing that you will see is if you do sell multiple products, you'll have a nice brand halo around all of your products, even though you're only pushing sales to one. We do usually see a 10 to 15% lift across the whole product line. And then if you can run multiple products at the same time, if your budget is large enough, you'll get an even larger halo effect. So quickly through reviews and ads. Reviews are key on Amazon right now. To get your first reviews, utilize any email lists that you have or tap into friends and family. The other big thing that you can do is leverage Facebook groups. So there are a lot of Facebook groups out there that this is their entire process, is you give them deep discounts on product and they leave you reviews, kind of like a manufacturer rebate program. You can also do something like that yourselves through Facebook ads or your email list to go ahead and bump that review rating. The other thing that you can do is Amazon released a new request a review button, but you do have to go in and manually click this order by order. There's a couple Chrome extensions that you can pull that will actually do this for you automatically. The other thing that you can do is pull all of your customer data from Seller Central and run retargeting ads towards these people. That way you can go ahead and ask for those reviews and continue that relationship, as well as push for a repeat purchase. The big one that we do use is inserts. So if you have any inserts or if you aren't using one, go ahead and push it to a landing page on your website, ask about their experience. You'll get customer data, email addresses, and then you can go ahead and basically give them some sort of coupon for a repeat purchase if you are consumable, or upsell another product within your line. Amazon ads, really, we don't use these too much for launches, but there are 3 main types: sponsored products, sponsored display, and sponsored brands. And then DSP is a larger lifecycle ad that most don't do from the beginning. But sponsored products are your #1 sales driver. They're highly targeted. They do have high CPCs, but they also have the highest conversion rates. We usually spend about 50 to 60% of our on Amazon ad budget towards these, just because they are at top of search and they do produce sales. The next one is product display ads. These allow you to piggyback on other high selling products and kind of boost off of their relevancy. And they work extremely well if you do have coupons like this example down here, because it's a very similar product and you're going to save 5% if you come by mine instead. So awesome for brand defense and conquesting, to make sure that no one else really takes up your product page. And we usually put 10 to 15% behind these. And then the last main one is sponsored brands product targeting. So there's 2 types. There's top of search sponsored brands, which is a banner ad at the top, and then there's product targeting that lives on product pages. These usually do have a cheaper click. They aren't highly converting, but they are highly targeted. You can use these to conquest other brands, get frequently bought together, because it does advertise multiple products and take you to a storefront. And you can protect your listing from competitors by running these on your own products. And we usually put about 20 to 30% of our overall budget into them. The last big one is DSP. This is either self-managed through an agency or through Amazon Managed Services. They do have a very high minimum. They're off Amazon ads. It's typically $35K, but it is low for the next couple months at $10,000. So if you do want to get into DSP, I do recommend you do it right now. Get in that at the low rate, and you can kind of lock that in and continue it on for months on end. They are very high top of funnel ads going after in-market and category audiences, but you can run abandoned cart and repeat purchaser ads that obviously will have super high conversions at the end of the day. And then the tips and tricks, I will send this out in the slides. And if you guys have any questions, we can kind of run through it on email, but it's very basic. Everything that you would need in here to do that, you'll have access to. And there shouldn't be too many questions.
I wish we had more time for you, Matt. This is
Yeah.
pure gold. I think I think the first thing people are probably thinking right now, if they're not on Amazon, is there's no way I could do this myself. And I think
Yeah.
that's what, most people start, they launch a brand, they're getting some success, and they go, I'm going to just put my product on Amazon. I'm going to, learn how to do this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm sure I can figure this out and launch it myself. And then you come in here and show us the strategy required to really take it to the next level and do it the right way, combining like other ad channels to make sure that we're ranking well and proving the actual and very, very strong ROI that comes from doing it the right way. I mean, yeah, I think this is huge. And I think the answer to how to launch on Amazon is hire Matt and hire Right Side Up. It'll be a lot easier than trying to do all this yourself. I mean, it's literally a full-time job, I'm sure, to manage these channels for brands. And I know it is for you.
Yeah, but it definitely is. I would say if you do have a smaller catalog, it is probably something that you can dabble in yourself if you have 2 to 3 items. But once you start growing, it does become quite a job at the end of the day.
That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to move right into our next session. You want to, we got your email in chat, right? We want to make sure everyone can email you and get these slides from you, because I think the slides are pure gold. And definitely have a conversation with Matt about your Amazon strategy. And maybe we'll have another happy hour in the future to do some more teardowns. That was a lot of fun.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
Awesome.